there is a debate.
Luka Doncic. Shea Butter.
No one has ever seen anyone who's more like an alien.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to First Take. Victor Wembanyama doing Victor Wembanyama things last night. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Brian Windhorst, Stephen A. Smith. What's good?
What's going on, Shay? What up, Wendy? How y'all doing?
We're good. We're hanging
in LA, Stephen A. It misses you.
We'll be back.
I'm coming back. Don't you worry.
That's right.
I'll be back.
Let's go to the West. Let's go to what Victor Wembanyama did last night. One of the 7 Spurs that scored in double figures last night. A very depleted Warriors team is who they were playing against. Wemby still gave the Golden State crowd, though, something to cheer for. 3 blocks, 18 rebounds, 41 points now for the second game in a row. In fact, Wemby had 6 points before the entire Warriors team had any, okay? He continues to make history. Victor Wembanyama has had consecutive games with 40 points, as I said, 15 rebounds and 3 blocks, joining Bob McAdoo as the only players to do that since blocks became official in 1973-1974. In that year, McAdoo was the runner-up for MVP. Speaking of MVP, here's Wemby last night.
Oh, yeah, I do care deeply about it. And I think that all the greats, that are in the Hall of Fame or that are, in our mind, the best of all time, they have fought and grabbed everything they could grab early on in their career, And if I want to make my spot among the greats, I got to try to not miss any occasion I have to put my name up there.
So Wemby, now this is the second-ish time we've heard him kind of advocating for himself for MVP. How do we feel about that? We're not usually accustomed. We heard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander the other day say, I'll let my game speak for itself. Wendy, how do you feel about Wemby advocating for himself an MVP?
I'm having a difficult time understanding why anybody doesn't love this. We spend months on end talking about who's going to win the MVP. I got people coming up to me in the airport, on the street. Who are you voting for the MVP? Oh, I got so-and-so, I got so-and-so. The fans clearly care about this. People bet on this for months on end. We're constantly updating the odds and saying, we talk about historically, this guy won this many, this guy won this many. It's clearly something that people who follow basketball love to engage with. And it's supposed to be a bad thing from some people. I got guys in the NBA, people who've been around for years who I, trust and believe in and look up to, looking down their nose. And so we're supposed to have a negative reaction to somebody who says, I deeply care about it? That's supposed to be a character flaw? Like, fine, if Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't want to, publicly campaign, of course that's fine. I'm not saying you have to. But why would anybody not be engaged by somebody saying he cares? You know what else he said last night, Stephen A? Every day he sets some sort of crazy record. Like, I got to go through 6 paragraphs after every game that he's done something. And last night he did something that hasn't been done by the Spurs since Dennis Rodman. I think it was consecutive games of 15 points and 15 rebounds. And Victor goes, oh, man. I love that. He's totally lights up when he hears that. I've watched a bunch of Rodman clips. I love Dennis Rodman. Are we supposed to say that a 21-year-old in 2026 you're not engaged by the idea that he's not watching Dennis Rodman clips from the 80s and 90s? Like if somebody's taking a position against this, that this is a problem, they're just being crotchety. And if they're a crotchety person, go ahead. But I just don't see how anybody can't be refreshed by his attitude at wanting to win this.
Well, I'm here for you, Wendy. I understand. It's befuddling to you. I'm going to make it very, very easy.
Sounds like a crotchety person.
Yeah, I'm going to make it very, very easy for you. Number one, you got a lot of people in this world that like to bitch and moan. Let's get that out the way first, all right? They ain't happy unless there's something. They ain't happy unless there's something to bitch and moan about, right? But in the age of YouTube, the advent of YouTube, clickbait, and all of this other stuff, you know what's become more popular? Pretending that you have something to bitch and moan about when you really, really don't mean it. That is the answer to the question when you ask about Victor Wembanyama, because you know how you know folks are lying? when they act like Victor Wembanyama and him caring deeply about an NBA MVP award and what have you. You know how you know they're lying when they act like they have a problem with it? Because it's the same people that will mention tanking, the same people that will mention load management. You have a player out here that knows you have to play, and you have to play at an elite level in order to win this award. And he's telling you ahead of time, no matter who he's going against, he's coming for it. So imagine what that does for the paying customer. What it does is enable you to go to an arena, right? Not just look forward to his greatness, but look forward to him attempting to be even more great than you thought he was, because he wants to impact you psychologically in an effort to get the MVP award. He doesn't want just voters voting for him for the league MVP. He wants the audience out there, the paid customer out there, to look at him and see him as an MVP, because you know he's something special compared to everybody else around him who he absolutely knows and believes is special. He did this during All-Star Weekend. He's done this since he came to the league. He was going to win the MVP award, not the MVP, the Defensive Player Award last year if it wasn't for the deep vein thrombosis that he ended up suffering from. Otherwise, he would have been Defensive Player last year, okay? He's clearly going to win it this year. There's no suspense there. We look at all of these things and what he's bringing to the table. It's a testament to him. It's to the benefit of all of us who get to watch him, but also anticipate what he's going to do on a night-in, night-out basis. You don't go to a game in San Antonio or a game anywhere where the San Antonio Spurs are and worried about whether or not Wemby wants to play, whether or not he's going to play, whether or not he's going to strive to play on an elite level. This is what greatness is made of. And so we see him and we think he's great already, but we're fantasizing about the potential down the road because we know he wants to be that special. He wants to be the marquee. And all the great ones that we've seen throughout the years, the obvious ones with MJ and Magic and Bird and even LeBron and Kobe and all of that stuff. But you can look at other great players. Even the guys like Dwayne Wade, one of the greatest off guards in the history of the game, and others being the marquee. They wanted it. They wanted that on their shoulders. That's Victor Wembanyama. And that's going to influence a lot of people to pay attention to every little thing that he does on a very positive level, I'm talking about, in terms of his greatness and what he puts on display on a night in, night out basis. Because the number one thing, and I've said this on many occasions, the number one thing you want from great players is you want to look at them and know they're not cheating you. When you can look at them on a night in, night out basis and say, they giving me all they got. There's no greater tribute to folks who are great than that, because you're already great and you don't have to give all you got in order to still display greatness and pull off being better than 90% of the people you go up against. But when you're committed to being that great anyway, that is the kind of stuff that we look at. That's what we're seeing from Shea. It's what we're seeing from Wembanyama. And if we're being fair, we're seeing it from Jaylen Brown and we're seeing it from Luka Doncic. That's what we're seeing right now. And that's why this NBA season feels so special.
I'm going to say something, though, Shea. I do think that, you're never going to see the Thunder really talk trash. That is their franchise MO. They always take the high road. Well, most of the time they take the high road. When Shea Gilgeous-Alexander said 2 nights ago, I let my game do the talking. Yeah, that was him talking trash at Victor Wembanyama. Like, let's be clear. And I got a whole bunch of other people who I talk to on a daily basis who say it much more pointedly when they're on the phone or on text. So what you're making a case, Stephen A., but I'm telling you, in the NBA, that people don't all feel that way.
Yeah,
of course they don't. But that's part of it, because everybody's personalities are different. LeBron wasn't Kobe. Kobe was one of one. MJ was one of one. Bird was different than Magic, etc. It comes in all shapes and sizes. What was they doing when they were talking about, the dream team and all of that? Larry Bird sitting up there looking for a backdoor entrance, trying to avoid the crowd and everything. They said, "Where's Magic?" What? And they went right to Bird. Bird said, Magic going through the front door. That's what he's going through. He want to walk through the crowd. He's showtime. time. That was Bird. That's what made it special, the dichotomy that exists. You understand the different personalities going up against one another. You got us looking forward to OKC versus San Antonio. We're watching San Antonio, NBA best 26-2 since February 1st, right? And a 15 game winning streak with Wemby on the floor, winning 15 of their last 16 or whatever it was. And with all of that being said, going off the way that they are actually winning 26 of their last 28. With all of that being said, they're still 2 games behind OKC. And Shea is chilling out, showing up to every press conference, entering every arena, flossing, outfit, looking spectacular, putting everybody on notice. He ain't just trying to win another MVP and another championship. He want to get invited to Fashion Week in Paris, too, and New York City. He's flossing like that, okay? In the meantime, winning. Sitting up there and saying, no matter what you do, Wemby, you still chasing me. That's what Shea is really, really saying, because he has been a model of consistency throughout Wemby's run. Shea hasn't faded one bit. It's really special to watch right now.
Yeah, I felt like when he said, I'm good, multiple times, like I'll let my game do the talking, I agreed with Wendy. It was the first thing I thought about. Also, are we still using flossing? I don't know if we're still using that word, but we can talk about that.
We can. I can. I do.
Oh, okay. All right, got it. Wendy, we'll talk to you a little bit later on. In the meantime, we go to some breaking news out of the NFL. Kirk Cousins